You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. Coach Sess. Coach Sess. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. Coach Sess. Coach Sess. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. Coach Sess. Coach Sess. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. I am Mad Coach. Coach Sess. Coach Sess. You are listening to Words with a Mad Coach.
Okay, Mad World. It's me, Coach Sess. Had a friend ask me a question about how do you create an environment that's safe for sparring, and basically you go back to the basics. So for us, that's the 5 elements: posture, position, timing, distance, and balance. Posture, position, distance, timing, and balance. So if I'm working the jab, I'm making sure that I'm looking at my fist to elbow to shoulder alignment. I'm paying attention to where my hips are facing. If my target's here, I don't want my energy going here, okay, on a diagonal. I want it going straight into my target. Positioning. Let's look at the jab cross hook for positioning. One of my favorite examples where people kind of get it, they lose the idea. So in other words, they learn the jab cross hook, boom, boom, boom. They have the punches, the body's in alignment, but they forget about the defense, all right? And you want to always make sure that when we're talking about positioning, you don't want to have to go offense back to defense. You want them incorporated. You want them ingrained together. Help save your energy. Step with my jab, and as I return, I want to place my foot in a different position, allowing my rear side of my body to line up more evenly with my opponent. I go down here. I either land the punch or I create a distraction, and that allows me to create this angle, and boom, come back with my hook. So we'll go jab, cross, and hook. Timing. Timing is self-timing. There's external timing and self-timing. So in this context, what you need to learn first is self-timing. Self-timing is also related to the word of self-control. All right? So with self-timing, if you saw my video on reverse motion training, that's basically self-timing. So basically, if I execute a jab, and I want to come with the cross, I'm thinking about the pull motion here. So I don't want to get here and reset. I want to get here, and I want to use the momentum, the mechanics of my reset to throw my follow-up punches, whether it be cross hook, cross into a takedown. It doesn't really matter. You just have to get to the point where you're understanding your transition points. Balance. Balance, again, there's 2 types of balance that we're working with. Basic static balance, that aids the posture we were talking about before, where you're able to receive energy, okay? But then transitional balance is all about dynamics, so dynamic balance. So if you're trying to get from point A to point B, you're gonna have to learn to shift your balance from one position to another and not lose it, all right? So basically, most people think of balance in terms of 50-50. Pretty much if you're 50-50, you're standing still. So from right now, just standing here, this is 50-50, all right? And even a 50-50 shift creates a basic rhythm that you can counter, that you can pick up on. So I like to have the concept of 49-51 with no more extreme than a 60-40 or a 55-45, however you want to look at it. So I want to be able to move a long step to a short step to a long back to a short going forward, just to help create a broken rhythm. I may take a long step, short step, back to a long step, short step going forward. All right, creating angles while I'm doing this, creating an illusion, trying to give my opponent something to track, but still not be there. And then manage your distance. It's kind of the last thing, the 5 elements. Manage your distance. Every tool, no matter what that tool is, it has a particular distance that it does where it performs better. For instance, the jab, yeah, I can be this close and jab, but my punch is smothered, okay? So in this situation right here, the cross helps, you know? Shorter punches like uppercuts and hooks, they're even better. So every strike has a particular range. Even when you throw an armbar up, it has a particular range, particular distance, I should say, where it's best executed from. And so every technique you train, you want to make sure that you're trying to train that. So those again are the 5 elements: basic, basics, basics. I would not advise anybody who's looking to train people how to spar to start out with all out sparring. I would start you off with first isolation sparring. So you take one tool at a time. So let's say we just take the jab, boom, boom. And each person is working the jab. Now you can decide whether you want to go to the head and body, or just go to the head only, or just the body only, all right? But just remember, the more you add or subtract can take away from the actual sparring method down the line. Then the second form would be one-sided sparring. So in other words, one person has the jab and the other person has a round kick. Or if you want to talk about the target area again, one person can box, giving him basically just the head area to attack, and the other person can counter with leg kicks. All right, so you can create isolations as well. Create one-sided situations by just giving them different goals. So another type of sparring is defensive sparring. So in other words, one person is 100% defense the entire time, and the other person, you have to limit the techniques, because I wouldn't say, hey, we're gonna do, you do MMA and you do 100% MMA, and this other person does 100% defense for MMA. So what you're isolating is, maybe this guy throws jab cross and I'm working, boom, boom, just the defense. Hands up defense, catch covers, slips, closing the distance, smothering, maybe some type of clenching, but I'm just not hitting. I'm doing anything to take away his 1-2. I'm just not throwing my own 1-2. So, but it's 100% defense. Again, it's very similar to the one-sided. The only difference is I don't get to hit at all. And what this does is allow me to create different scenarios to defend from, but it also creates scenarios for my training partner where it educates him and it starts to grow his repertoire and game and his strategy, because he realizes that there are things I'm able to do without having to hit him, and it's going to help him educate him and grow his game altogether. You want to get into high volume, low impact for your training environment. You have to start with the basics, and the basics are not just your tools. The basics are these 5 elements: posture, position, timing, distance, and balance. And then you go into the 3 basic forms of sparring that will help you, and that is isolation, one-sided sparring, and then defensive sparring. I'm Coach Sess, and you've had Words with the Mad Coach.